What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of my Dark Souls Remastered 100% walkthrough. So this episode is going to be focused on cleaning up everything we need to do for all achievements in this game. That is going to involve some farming, unfortunately, but it is what it is. There are some weapons that have to be farmed, and I'm going to show you guys all of the weapons that do need to be farmed in order to get the weapons achievement. And then also what we're going to be doing is upgrading every weapon type to its max to get those weapon upgrade trophies as well. So stay tuned to the end of the episode for that, because there'll be some important stuff to follow for that as well. So we are at the kiln of the first flame, which we just opened, and the reason for that is because there are black knights here that you can farm, because these ones do respawn. I would recommend having a healthy quantity of homeward bones, or if you have the homeward miracle, that will work as well, as long as you have the faith to use it. Oops, I put the carving on. I wanted to put the homeward bone on. There we go. So there are a series of black knights that you can farm. And so for the weapons trophy, you're going to need the Black Knight Great Axe, Black Knight Sword, Black Knight Great Sword, Black Knight Halberd, and Black Knight Shield. So if we do a quick inventory check, I believe on this playthrough I've gotten somewhat lucky on the Black Knight drops. I do have... I thought I had a Black Knight Shield. There it is. Yep, I do have a Black Knight Shield. I have the Black Knight Halberd and the Black Knight Sword, I'm almost positive. Let's see, the Black Knight Sword. There it is. So all I have left is the Great Sword. So another benefit of fighting these guys is they have a guaranteed drop of a various colored chunk. So the chunk that they drop depends on what weapon they carry. So the Black Knight Sword enemies will drop a regular Titanite chunk every single time. So you can farm these guys over and over and over again. Every single time you fight this guy, you're going to get a chunk, a Titanite chunk. The next one is going to be the Great Sword. So I actually need the Great Sword, so I'm hoping for the drop. And actually, before I go any further, what I ought to do is equip the Covetous Gold Serpent Ring to increase my item discovery. So this will bring it from 158 to 358. And I also ought to use humanity items to get to 10. So I need to use 8 more. I'm going to get to 10 humanity. And that'll also increase my drop rate as well. You see now I'm at 410. 410 item discovery is actually the max. I know before when we were farming the harpies for the souvenirs of reprisal, I also equipped the symbol of avarice. Turns out that those do not stack. The symbol of avarice does not stack with the ring, so it is not worth it to equip both. Unless you want the extra soul drop that the symbol of avarice gives you, but then it also gives you the health drain. So you decide if that's worth it or not. So this one will always drop a red chunk, I believe. Yep, we did not get the sword, but we did get the red chunk. So we are going to need to farm him until we get the sword. But but for the sake of showing you guys the fact that these all do drop chunks every single time, I'm going to go all the way through, kill all of them one time. And then we're going to look at our chunks and see how many we need to farm to level up the to level up all of the different weapon types to max. So this is another Black Knight Sword. This is the only one where there's a duplicate. There's 5 Black Knights in total. 2 of them have the sword, 1 of them has a Great Axe, 1 of them has the Halberd, and 1 of them has the Great Sword. This will be another regular, and I got another Black Knight Sword, which I don't need another Black Knight Sword, but now I have 2. And this is, you can summon Solaire here if you're in human form, and Solaire can help you with the final boss fight. We're not going to fight the final boss yet. I'm just doing this to show you the Black Knight farming loop, because you are going to need all of those weapons that I mentioned at the beginning for the trophy. And again, I do highly recommend doing all of the farming that you need to do in your base new game, because if you go to New Game Plus, white chunk from that guy, and then we get a blue chunk from the halberd. Because if you go to New Game Plus, the enemies scale up. So you can farm them still, but they're going to be more powerful. So I just recommend doing it here. It's much easier just to do it here. Because if you wait till New Game Plus, these the Black Knights are going to hit harder. They're going to have more HP. We're going to use a Homeward Bone. And so that just makes everything more difficult. You can still farm them, but it'll just be more difficult. So you get a blue chunk every single time from that last one. And I'm going to do a quick check on my Titanite chunks. So I've got 9 regular chunks, 3 slabs, 14 blue chunks, 2 blue slabs, 11 red chunks, 1 red slab, and 11 white chunks. So for the weapon upgrade trophy, if you follow my method of doing it, you're going to need 14 regular chunks. You're going to need 14 blue chunks. You're going to need 14 white chunks, 14 red chunks, probably about 40 green shards, which you can purchase. You're going to need some large shards as well, and then a bunch of regular shards, which you can buy. So the regular shards, the large shards, and the green shards you can purchase. The chunks you have to farm, and then the slabs technically are farmable, but it's not worth it because the drop rate is so low. You get everything you need to get all of the weapons upgrade trophies in your first playthrough, except for 1 red Titanite slab, because the game only gives you 1, at least that I know of. And it's possible that you could be extremely lucky for a drop. I believe the Chaos Eaters in Lost easily drop them, but it is extremely rare. So generally you're only gonna get 1 red slab for a playthrough. So we're only gonna be able to upgrade 1 of the 2 weapons that require a red slab. So the fire weapon requires a slab and the chaos weapon requires a slab. So what we're gonna do is, another thing I need to point out, that the embers do not carry over. So I, again, recommend doing all of the weapon upgrade trophy in your first playthrough, because the embers that we have been getting do not carry over, and the embers are needed to level up. Oh, geez. The embers are needed to level up certain weapons. So, or certain weapon types, I should say. So they do not carry over to your New Game Plus. So I very highly recommend using or doing all of the upgrades that you need to do in your base new game before moving on to New Game Plus. And again, you will go straight, as soon as you kill the final boss, you will go straight to New Game Plus. You do not have a choice. You will go straight to New Game Plus. So do all of the upgrades you're going to do in base new game, except for the Chaos one, because the Chaos Ember is on the way to one of the bosses anyways that we're going to be fighting in New Game Plus. So it's not, we don't have to go very far out of a way to get that. And then we're going to get our guaranteed 1 red Titanite slab outside of the boss room for the Bed of Chaos. So we'll be able to, we'll again be able to get that max Chaos weapon in New Game Plus. So I'm going to say it again. If you're farming for weapons and upgrades and whatnot, got another Black Knight shield. If you're farming for the weapon upgrades and whatnot, do not fight the final boss yet, because if you do, you will go straight to New Game Plus. You will not have a choice. And so after I am done with these Black Knights here, I'm going to show you where all the rest of the weapons that you need to farm for the weapons trophy are. We're gonna have ourselves some fun farming. I'm not gonna do it in real time. I'm going to do kind of a montage. So I think I have enough blue chunks. I don't think I need to fight this guy, right? Let me see. Yeah, I've got enough blue chunks. So I don't, and I have the halberd, so I don't even need to fight that guy. So anyway, it's going to be a matter of doing this loop until you have the requisite chunks you need. Again, you need 14 of each type of chunk. Of each color, including the regular chunk. And I'm assuming you already have a maxed out Zweihander, by the way. Or a maxed out whatever weapon you're using. Come on. Got another. I keep getting the swords. I need the great sword. So I'm going to do one more run through this. And then I'm just going to do a kind of a montage. Oh, that should have been a parry. I don't know what that was. Oh my gosh. That was bad. I don't know why that previous attack was not a parry. Was a little bit off on my timing there. So let's see here. We need 3 more, or rather 2 more chunks, which I'm going to get on this run. And I lost my humanity there, so I better get it back. I did have 10 humanity active. There we go. Gotta get those parries. And you can go for backstabs. That the great sword one though, I mean he just hits so hard he can pancake you because the Black Knight great sword does so much poise damage. All right, buddy. There you go. Got the parry that time. Give me your great sword. Yes, there it is. Okay, perfect. So again, while I'm doing this, make sure you have the Black Knight sword, the Black Knight great sword, the Black Knight halberd, the Black Knight great axe, and the Black Knight shield. At least one of each. Got a bunch of the swords. And then after I kill this one, I'm going to check my Titanite chunk situation, make sure we're all squared away. And then will be the summary of all the other weapons you need. I don't know if I've ever seen that jump attack before. That was interesting. All right. So we have all the Black Knight weapons now, since I got the great sword there. Now we're going to check chunks. So I've got 14 regular Titanite chunks, 14 blues, 13 reds, 13 whites. So I need 1 more red and 1 more white. So I'm going to go ahead and do that off screen. I'm going to do 1 more kind of half loop to get the extra red and the extra white. And then show you all the other weapons, and then we'll come back for some more later. So sit tight, everybody. All right, guys, so you should have all the weapons now if you follow this guide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually, we're going to warp to Anor Londo, and that's where we're going to start the weapons upgrade process. So we're going to warp to the Chamber of the Princess Bonfire. And what we're going to do before we go any further, I'm going to recap the weapons that you need for the all weapons trophy. So you're not going to have the trophy yet because the trophy requires boss soul weapons that we do not have yet. I'm going to get all of the boss soul weapons in my new game plus playthrough because you're going to need 3 souls of Sif, which is why I have to go to new game plus and to begin with to get all the weapons. So to recap what souls you're going to need, boss souls you're going to need 2 moonlight butterflies, you're going to need 2 quelags, 2 iron golems, 1 Ornstein, 1 Smo, 3 Sif, 1 Priscilla, 2 Gwendolyn, and 2 Gwen. And so we do not have a Gwen soul yet, but we'll fix that in the next episode. So beyond the boss soul weapons, I'm going to recap all of the weapons that you need that are not boss soul weapons that you should have by now if you picked everything up that we've gotten in the guide and if you farmed the weapons that I've covered in this video. So we're going to start at the top. So you should have Priscilla's dagger. We got that from chopping the tail from Priscilla. You should have the Silver Knight sword. That's a random drop from farming Silver Knights. Astora's straight sword. You got that from the zombie dragon in the Valley of the Drakes. That was a pickup right by him. The Drake sword we got from chopping the tail from the Red Drake and Undead Burg. Black Knight sword. You get that from farming Black Knights. Let's see. Dragon Great sword. We got that from the Ash Lake Ancient Dragon. Stone Greatsword, you get that from farming the Stone Giants and Darkroot. Moonlight Greatsword, that is a tail chop from Seath. Black Knight Greatsword, we got from farming Black Knights. Gravelord Sword, we got from joining the Gravelord Covenant in the Catacombs. Velka's Rapier, we got that from the Painted World. That was a pickup. Gargoyle Tail Axe, that is a chop from the Gargoyle boss. Crescent Axe, we purchased that from Patches and Firelink. I think alternatively it's a drop if you kill Patches. Black Knight Great Axe, that's a pick. That is a random drop from farming Black Knights. Dragon King Great Axe, that is from the Gaping Dragon. That's a tail chop. The Grant, that is a pickup from killing an NPC invader. Paladin Leroy. Dragon Tooth, that is a pickup from a treasure chest in Anor Londo. Channeler's Trident, that is a random drop from the Channelers in Duke's Archive. Silver Knight Spear, that is a random drop from Silver Knights in Anor Londo. Giant's Halberd, that is a random drop from the Giant Golems in Anor Londo. Alternatively, you can purchase it from the Giant Blacksmith in Anor Londo. Black Knight Halberd, you get that from Black Knights, farming Black Knights. The Dark Hand you get from joining the Dark Wraith Covenant. Dragon Slayer Greatbow, that is a pickup in Anor Londo. Effigy Shield, that is a pickup in Tomb of the Giants. Sanctus, that is from Paladin Leroy, the NPC invader in Tomb of the Giants. Blood Shield, that is a pickup in the Painted World. Crest Shield, that you get that from killing Oscar in the Undead Asylum when you revisit Undead Asylum. Dragon Crest Shield, that is by the Zombie Dragon and Valley of the Drakes. Silver Knight Shield, you get that from farming Silver Knights. Black Knight Shield, you get that from farming Black Knights. Stone Great Shield, you get that from farming the Giants and Darkroot Basin. And finally, Havel's Great Shield, that is a pickup in a treasure chest in Anor Londo. So if you have all of those, congratulations, you are good to go. Now, we're going to visit the Giant Blacksmith in Anor Londo for some weapon upgrades. So the best way to get there is, I think, going this way through Ornstein and Smo's room. And to get to him, we're going to go up and around, because if you go down, the gargoyle enemies are going to attack you and possibly go into the Giant Blacksmith's room and possibly hit him and possibly make him mad at you. So the foolproof way to do it is to go up and around, so that way you don't have to worry about any enemies being in the same room as the giant blacksmith. So the first thing we're going to do is purchase any materials we might need. So he sells titanite shards, large shards, green shards, and twinkling. So we're going to need about, I'm going to say, I'm just kind of guessing here, probably about 45 or so green shards. So I'm going to go ahead and get those. Large shards, you're going to need at least 10. Regular shards, we're going to need several because there's a few weapons we're going to need to level up from scratch. I'm just going to get 50. And you should have plenty of souls from the farming that we just did. So that takes me almost all the way out. So we do have some soul items left. If you're completely out of souls at this point, go ahead and just farm some souls from enemies. I mean, the Silver Knights in Anor Londo is a great place to do it. Now pop all of these to make sure that we have enough for all the upgrades that we're going to be doing. I'm going to go ahead and take the serpent ring off because I don't need that anymore. For farming souls, the silver ring will give you extra souls for killing enemies. Okay. So the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to get ourselves a maximum crystal weapon. And so to do that, start with the crystal halberd. That is you get that from Anor Londo from a mimic, and that is guaranteed. And so since it's already a crystal type weapon, you can just start with it and you're not going to worry about changing some other weapon and then modifying it to be crystal. We already have a crystal weapon, so we're gonna upgrade this. And this is gonna take 7 chunks. And a slab. But you should have the slabs if you've been following this playthrough. There's our crystal weapon trophy. You should already have the trophy for leveling up a regular weapon. We did that with the Zweihander. Next, we're going to level up the lightning spear to get a maximum lightning weapon. This is also going to take 7 chunks and a slab, which you should have. All right. Next, we're going to get a maximum enchanted weapon, and that's going to be with the enchanted falchion. By the way, the lightning spear you should have gotten from a treasure chest, a mimic actually from Sen's Fortress. The enchanted falchion you should have from a mimic in the Duke's Archives. And these are taking blue chunks. And a blue slab, which you should have 2 of them. And then we're going to do an occult weapon, which you should have got from a mimic in Anor Londo. And this will get us a maximum occult weapon. You're just going to take white chunks and a white slab. You should have 2 white slabs if you've been following this guide. There you go. Okay, so next we're going to go to Rickert. So I'm going to Homeward Bone out of here. Rickert is the blacksmith who can level up a magic weapon to the max. And he is outside the new Londo ruins. So we're going to warp to Firelink Shrine. So to get to Rickert, we got to go all the way down. I think I showed him to you at the very beginning of the playthrough, but we haven't talked to him since because we haven't been using magic-based weapons. So the primary thing, if you're wondering what these different weapon types are about, because I haven't really covered them since I haven't used different elemental weapons, the main thing about them is that it'll impact the type of damage you're doing. So, for example, if you're using a lightning-based weapon, you're going to have a lightning attack on it, or a fire-based weapon, you're going to be doing fire damage by default. But it will also impact the scaling. So, for example, let's say you have a magic weapon. It will change the scaling, let's say, from strength, and it'll scale off your intelligence, for example, instead of your strength. And then on top of that, it'll be doing magic-based damage instead of, you know, or in some cases it'll be split between physical damage and magic damage. But since I've been leveling just pure strength in this playthrough, I haven't needed to worry about, you know, different elemental scalings in this playthrough.
Hey, hang, that's a sword. Yes.
All right, we need to give him the ember.
Yes. I won't dis.
And in this case, you can upgrade any weapon you want to be a magic weapon. You can just pick whatever one you want, and it doesn't matter one versus the other. We'll give him the enchanted ember as well, even though we already have our max enchanted weapons since we had the enchanted falchion to start with. Okay, so reinforced weapon. I will do the parrying dagger. I'm going to turn this into a magic weapon. So we're going to level up to +5 with titanite shards. So now what we have to do is, you see that the parrying dagger is no longer on our list. You have to go to modify equipment, and then this is for we can change this to a magic parrying dagger. We're going to say yes. Now we have the magic parrying dagger. Now it's going to take green titanite shards, which is why we bought green titanite shards. We're going to take this up to a magic +5. You see it's gone again. We got to go back to reinforce, or back to modify rather. And we can take this to a magic +6 using blue titanite chunks. This should take 7. And a slab, which you should have. Now we have our max magic weapon. So now we're going to do a divine weapon, which will require us going to Andre. So we're going to warp to the Undead Parish. Whoops. And again, I recommend doing this before New Game Plus, because if you wait till New Game Plus, the embers that you need to level up your weapons to max level are going to be gone. You're going to need to get them again in your New Game Plus playthrough. They do not carry over. And now we're going to do a divine weapon. I'm going to give him the large divine ember so he can do it. So I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to take my silver knight straight sword and make it divine. Again, it doesn't matter which weapon you pick. You can do any weapon you want. All right, so that should be at +5. And is it not at +5? Where's my silver knight straight sword? Is it already enchanted? Yeah, silver knight straight sword +5. Okay. Oh, is it? Maybe you can't. Okay. Silver knight straight sword. That was a fail. We're gonna do something else now. We'll do a. We'll do the Uji katana. Sorry about that. Don't do the silver knight straight sword. I don't know why it wasn't showing up, but for whatever reason you can't upgrade that one. All right, so now I can turn this into a divine Uji katana. I think the silver knight straight sword might already have properties on it that prevent it from being modified. So Uji katana. Greens to level this up. And then we're going to modify it again for +6 using white chunks. All right, and you should have the white slab for that. Let's see. Now we need to do a raw weapon. Which a raw weapon, what it does is it makes the base damage way higher, but it takes away the scaling. In most cases, turning something into a raw does not increase its damage output. So it's generally not a wise thing to do. So we're going to turn the mace into a raw mace. There we go. And this is what you need the large shards for. Okay, we got max raw weapon. So by now you should have a max regular weapon, max crystal, max lightning, max raw, max magic, max enchanted, max divine, max occult. So what we're going to do now is we're going to visit Vamos and get a max fire. And Vamos, if you remember, is in the catacombs.
What is... Oh. Yes, yes.
All right, I will make my greatsword a fire greatsword. You can also do chaos weapons with him. But we're gonna do chaos in New Game Plus Plus. Because we only have one red slab. And there's not a second guaranteed red slab. So we could turn this into a +6 now. And use our one red slab. So,
That'll be all.
quick check on trophies. At this point, you should have. These are related to the endings. This is the rare weapons. You should have all sorceries. We're going to get all pyromancies in New Game Plus. We're going to get all miracles in New Game Plus. Let's see. This is Way of White Covenant. This is Princess Guard Covenant. These are the covenants. You should have all these. You should have the strongest weapon, crystal weapon, lightning weapon, raw weapon, magic weapon, enchanted weapon, divine weapon, occult weapon, fire weapon. The only one we should be missing right now is chaos weapon. We're going to get that in New Game Plus. And you should have all of these as well. These are just gameplay progression trophies. And then boss trophies. You should have all those. So that's where you should be right now if you've been following this guide. So what we're going to do, we're going to warp out of here. And we're going to go back to the kiln of the first flame. And in the next episode, we are going to beat this game. It's going to be over for base New Game. Now, I do plan to cover New Game Plus and New Game Plus Plus as part of this walkthrough to pick up the rest of the trophies. That will probably be done via live streams. And then that will be it for Dark Souls, guys. So to get to the kill in the first flame, alternatively, you can just drop down here in Fireleague Shrine. And it'll take you right down here. And we rest at this bonfire. And we are going to call it a day. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope you found this guide useful. And we'll look forward to beating the game in the next one. So stay tuned and take care. We'll see you then.